other sites today, so I have to take the bus. It's getting warmer now. Spring is here. So, okay, I'm gonna try not miss my bus. So, see you in a bit. So usually when I get into the office, I obviously get changed into my uniform and then get all my necessary bits and pieces in order. So you can see here, putting my name tag on, and then got my necessary pens. They're very important to me. And then I just kind of log into the computer. I have to do my timesheet to say that I'm working. And then we have to log in our COVID results every day just to make sure we're negative before we get into work, so that we're obviously not passing it on to any of our patients and our colleagues. And that takes like 5 minutes. So right after that, I go straight into my emails. I check to see if there's anything I need to take care of right away. Usually it's replying to any questions that have come through overnight or over the weekend, and then go through any referrals that we receive. So my colleague and I cover 2 sites, and so we have to kind of play tag a little bit. If she's at one site, then she'll take the new referrals from that site, and then if it's the site I'm at, then I would take those referrals. But yeah, so we just take a look at what the referrals are, see who's seeing who, and then we research on the patients. And then kind of figure out, can I see these patients today, triage them based on how severe they are, or can I just call the nurses over the phone and just do a quick, hey, you can just do the standard protocol that we've taught you guys, in the case that I have to cover the other site because my colleague isn't there. Yeah, and then right after that, I just kind of go through my list of current patients, see who needs to be reviewed today. I have my own list. We have a patient tracker that my colleague and I share, but I also make my own list just so I can keep track of who I see, and then I kind of use it to plan out my days and space out the patients so I'm not seeing everyone in one day. Yeah, and then that's basically where triaging kind of comes into place.
Yeah, I asked 1 tomato. Okay. She said 2 tomatoes.
Okay. 3 tomatoes.
2. She's like,
No, I didn't tell you. I'm vlogging today.
are you vlogging?
Yeah.
Where?
What do you mean where?
Vlogging like where? In which platform?
Like,
Which platform?
what?
Platform. Like.
Oh, okay.
Let me
Okay.
just pop my mask on.
Yeah, well, you're eating, so it's fine. We're in the office. It's a full house today. There's Timmy, that's Jericho, and that's Vincenzo. They're working very hard, very diligently.
This is how we drink coffee here.
Yeah,
With
through our
mask.
mass. That's Philippe.
It's a European coffee. Show it.
But it's not, it's from a machine. Okay, I saw 2 patients. One in the inpatient, the older gentleman. And then I just saw an outpatient for a back change with the consultant. And yeah, lots of planning with that. And now I'm hungry. So we'll see what the boys are up to. So usually I try to see all my patients, well, not all, I kind of group them so that I can do all my charting in one sitting. If I don't go back to my desk to do the charting, then I do it on the floor and try to find a computer there. But sometimes it's really busy, so I can't sit down at the computer there and chart right away. So I go back to my desk, chart, print out the note and I stick it back into the chart. But yeah, so that's usually what I do after I see patients. If I don't have a lot of patients to see, then I still try to round around the floors and just kind of talk to the nurses and see how they're doing and if they're managing well, if they feel like the patient is getting the care they need from like a wound perspective, or if they have concerns even for themselves. Like we might implement a dressing protocol, but then it really isn't practical for the nursing staff or the patient. So it's a really good chance to talk to them and involve them into the care and be like, hey, like if it doesn't work for you, we can think of another alternative. Unless there really isn't one, then we'll talk about it. But I think it's important to get everyone participating into the decision making, because I think a lot of people feel like, oh, the tissue viability nurse knows everything, and then the tissue viability nurse dictates everything. But really, in wound care, there's not one way to do anything, which can be frustrating sometimes, but it really is like a group effort, and there's so many variables involved, so many different options that we can explore. And so it's about talking to each other and seeing like what works for this person, what works for that person, and what doesn't work at all. And obviously putting your patient first. So I think the other part about rounding on the floors is just making yourself known to everyone, that you're not this specialist that just tells people what to do, but you're actually a part of the care and you're here to support the staff. Also, because I was new and I just want to make sure people knew that I was approachable, because, like I said, it's a very collaborative approach. And if people don't feel like they can trust you or feel safe to talk to you, then you miss out on a very large aspect of care planning, specifically care planning for the wound, and then the patient will never get the most comprehensive care possible. And then it just makes everyone's job harder, right? So let's work smarter, not harder. But either way, I like spending time with people. I like building relationships with people, so it was an extra bonus for me. And it's just nice to get to know your colleagues and not just tell them to do stuff and then come back and boss them around and whatnot. But yeah, so here you see me. I think I'm charting here. Perhaps. I'm actually not too sure. I don't remember. I'm typing quite slow. Anyways, lunchtime. I think lunch this day was braised pork? No, braised beef and daikon, like Asian style. Oh, and beef tenon. Oh, that was really good. Kind of, it tasted like the way mom would make it, so I was really proud of myself. And then some rice. I mixed in some wild rice because I like the texture, and then some stir fried cabbage because I had cabbage with a little bit of sesame oil, and then yeah, garnished with some spring onions. Very tasty, very happy with that, and obviously my favorite part of the day, next to cleaning wounds. But I do enjoy my lunchtime. Yeah. Bye. Philippe
So,
always
like, I
leaves
think
us in the
4
middle
or
of the
3
day.
to your question.
I'm a busy man, not really.
Sorry.
Not really. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So after lunch, well, generally speaking, after midday, that's kind of when the calls start to come, or when I start making calls out to other multidisciplinary team members. So this could be like the community nurses, any people that are involved in the patient's care that are outside of the hospital. Maybe it's other clinicians who are in the hospital, and I just need to update them on what's going on. Like other consultants or even physio and whatnot. And it's just the open communication just helps with the continuity of care, and then helps us make sure that we are working together and we're working towards a common goal. Then everybody knows. So quite often, especially if it's a patient with a pressure ulcer, the physios and occupational therapists will talk to us and make sure, is it safe for them to sit out, or will it cause more damage to the wound? So we just kind of talk about the pros and cons, and like, what does the patient need, and like, do we need to take that risk for the patient, so that they can get their mobility back, because that's also important as well. I think at this point I was just going up to visit the ward again, just to kind of wrap things up and make sure everyone is happy with the plans and whatnot. And yeah, basically to wrap up the day, as you can see from the clock, I think it's like 3:30. If I don't have any more charting to catch up on, I just kind of update our patient tracker so that we're all up to date. I update my own patient tracker to make sure that I know what how my day is gonna be planned for the next day, whether I'm at this site or the other site, and just so I'm ready to go. And then my colleague and I, we do call each other just to kind of summarize the day, see if anything new happened. And again, make sure we're all on the same page so we're not confused and we're not confusing the patient and other nurses as well. So if all that is done, and I've been very efficient, then I kind of work on a corporate level things. So right now, all the tissue viability nurses in my company, I guess, we're all part of this group to try and standardize all our policies and procedures. And so making sure it's the same across all our sites and we all operate similarly so that if we have to cross cover, it's not like we're on a completely different planet. But also we have a lot of nurses that work at different sites and they rotate between them so that then they know the expectation and the standards are the same at all the sites. So yeah, we're kind of working on that in between seeing patients and then also delivering the education that we need to give to our nurses. And yeah, it's well, also with that, with delivering education, then on top of that, we're creating material and resources for staff and patients. So when my colleague and I first started this job, that was kind of our focus because we really wanted to get a group of nurses, we call them link nurses, to really hone in on them, make sure they're up to date with practices. Obviously, we wouldn't expect them to practice on the same level as us, but we want to get them with a little bit more knowledge than the average nurse so that they can be a resource to their colleagues on the wards when we're not around. Because we're running around so much, we can't be everywhere all at once. So we really rely on our link nurses to help out in like the more simple, straightforward cases. And then obviously when it becomes more complicated, that's obviously where our expertise comes from. So yeah, that's that keeps us busy creating material from scratch. But hopefully once this is done, we'll have stuff that's easy and accessible for everyone. And then I guess it's kind of like a teacher where once you get the main stuff there, then it's just you can keep using that same material for the years to come because for the most part, the information doesn't really change. You might just update it as new research comes out for best practices, or maybe like there's national guidelines that come out and we can just update that easily. But yeah, this part's kind of my favorite part of the job is being able to share my knowledge and equip other nurses with the knowledge I've received, and then watching them be able to use that in their everyday practice and just, yeah, making them expand and stretch themselves so that they are familiar with another area of nursing care. And just to share my passion, to be honest, because like who doesn't like wounds? They're so cool and like gory, and you get to like watch them heal, and it's super fun and super tangible. And it's so satisfying. So incredibly satisfying. So that's kind of my day. It varies from time to time. Generally speaking, yeah, obviously priority is patients. See them first and then kind of get all the paperwork stuff done out of the way, answer emails, see any new referrals. Yeah, but we definitely get our steps in. As tissue viability nurses, you are not subject to just to one service. So say like the other orthopedic CNSs or colorectal or hepatology. Basically, anyone and everyone can ask for us to assist them with any wounds that they see. So, it's fun in that sense that we get to go everywhere. We're not just kind of stuck to one area. So I really get to know all the different units. There's a lot of people I've been working really hard to try and get to know, because it's not just about getting people to do things, but actually building those relationships to, so people feel confident in what they're doing. They understand what they do. Nursing is very dynamic. Very rarely you'll have something go according to plan, so you really do have to learn to be flexible and adaptable, and wound care included. So things happen, like shit happens, literally. Like poo can get everywhere. It's just how it is. But yeah, so this is the end of my day, and yeah, I hope that gave you a better glimpse of the life of a TVN. And maybe we'll do another version of this, because again, like every day is a little bit different.